Hello, Bobcats. My name is Brenda Sanchez, and today we will be interviewing two employees from UC Merced. Our first guest is Alejandro Delgadillo, Director of Admissions and Outreach. Our second guest is Luna Kaji, Undeclared Academic and Athletic Advisor. Let's get started. Hello, Bobcats. My name is Brenda Sanchez, and today we are interviewing two staff members from UC Merced. Our first guest is Alejandro Delgadillo, Associate Director of Admissions and Outreach. Today, he will be talking about the admissions process and tell us about a few topics for prospective and incoming students. Hi.
Hi there, Brenda. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So our first question, are there any majors in the school that are impacted and incoming prospective students should know about?
No, really, we don't have any impacted majors here at the university. We're not there yet. And because of the smallness of our campus, it just makes it easier for many students who are contemplating certain majors to be able to go and take the lower division prep courses for proposed majors. And so that's enticing for a lot of students, and knowing that that's available to them. And also the class size is also very enticing to them. So, and the personal attention they get at the university. So that shouldn't be a factor.
Okay, awesome. Can you talk about the GPA and test scores for students who were admitted to UC Merced fall 2013?
Sure. This past fall, the average GPA for students who were admitted, incoming freshmen, was 3.6. The average SAT was 1636, and the average ACT was 24. So that's very impressive for our incoming class.
I understand that there's an online resource that shows the freshman admission profile for all 9 undergraduate UC campuses. Can you tell us more about this resource and how it may help prospective students?
Sure. As many students are looking at the University of California, one of the things that happens for students who are looking in the UC system is they're often enticed to apply to the more popular universities. But it's also really good to go on what's called the Office of the President or the University of California Office of the President website, and it's ucop.edu. They have an opportunity to see the different profiles of each of the 9 UC campuses, everything from admission rates for the past fall to also seeing the average GPA for the incoming class and SAT scores and so forth. But I think students should look beyond the numbers and not just that. They also should be looking at the academic programs that the individual campuses offer. Even though the University of California is a very prestigious university system, and all the quality of education is outstanding, it's world renowned. But at the same time, there are certain academic programs that might be stronger at certain campuses than, say, in others. And so I think it's in the students' best interest to research more beyond the admission rates, beyond the average GPA and test scores, and look at the academic program. The other thing that students should be looking at that unfortunately is not always on that website is also the experiential opportunities that are available to students beyond the classroom that complement the in-class learning, but also provide a more practical application of theory to practice. In the process, it makes many students more prepared for graduate or professional schools, but at the same time makes them more competitive and so forth. And the best way to actually get that kind of information is for students to actually go and visit the campuses they're interested in applying to, beyond the numbers. And so yeah, but that website will provide those preliminary numbers if that's what students are interested in, but I think you have to think beyond the numbers.
Okay, great. When is the UC application deadline, and what happens after a student applies?
Okay, that's great. Today, it's about 22 more days till the deadline, so November 30th is actually the deadline. 10:59 p.m., but we're hoping the students are not waiting till that moment to submit their application or be even working on the application. The UC application is a work in progress, and it's been available since October 1st, so we're kind of hoping the students have been periodically working on it piece by piece and so forth. But once they submit the application, then they'll receive a confirmation from the University of California saying that we've received your application. Shortly thereafter, each campus that the student has indicated on the application they wish to be considered for admission will then submit to them an email confirming that that they have received their application, but also provide for that student a username and password for what's called the student portal. So each UC will have its own student portal for the student. So if a student's applying to UC Merced, it's my.ucmerced.edu. If they're applying to UC Santa Barbara, it's my.ucsb.edu, so forth and so forth. But this is how each of the individual campuses will be communicating with the student. So it's important that the student write down their username and password for those respective portals, because often we get phone calls from students saying, I've lost my password, my username, can you help me out? So it's always good that they write it down and so forth, because each of the campuses will be in communication with the student through the portal. Everything from their checklist, to-do lists, they have to know about. Eventually, when the student is offered admission, they'll be receiving a message, please check your student portal for your admission status, and they go on that portal and they'll see that they've been admitted or offered admission. Also, that's how financial aid will communicate and so forth. And this is also how the students also sign up to accept their admission, to accept their financial aid package, to sign up for summer orientation, to also sign up for housing, and also fill out the questionnaire the housing may have. So that portal is vital in what happens after the submission of the application. So students should be checking that daily, if not at least every other day, because sometimes students don't check it frequently. It could jeopardize their admission, or in some cases even jeopardize their financial aid or a portion of their financial aid.
Okay, so what does UC Merced offer that no other University of California does?
Well, I think every UC campus is unique in its own way. I graduated from a UC campus. I've worked at 3 other universities within the system. And so each one is unique and special in its own way. I think what we have here at UC Merced is that we're still small and growing, but it attracts a certain type of student. I think in regards to their students who are, yes, among the best and the brightest. They place in the top 9% academically in the state of California. But also they're young people who also see a world of opportunities here at the university, that they have the opportunity to create and leave a lasting legacy when they graduate, whether it be in the context of their leadership roles that they assume when they come to the university, or the fact that they are able to do or be involved in some level of research with distinguished faculty, or in some cases even distinguish themselves in what they are able to create here at the university, whether it be a student organization, an academic program, or be involved in some capacity in which we contribute back to the community of Merced or to the county of Merced. So again, students have that great opportunity, but also the personal attention the students receive here. When you have a faculty-student ratio of 19-to-1, when you have a very young faculty, the thing that I kind of was astonished, the first time I was in a faculty meeting with faculty in the School of Natural Sciences, that I looked around and realized that I was the oldest person in the room. And that was the first for me. And what you see or hear from our faculty is that for them it's a new generation of teaching, a new generation of providing those experiential opportunities for undergraduate students, in which they can distinguish themselves and preparing for their professional careers or professional schools that they'll apply to later on. So that in itself is also unique. Also the fact that, the environmental emphasis of the campus. I mean, the campus is made out of recycled materials. I mean, we create a good portion of our own energy, wind, solar, and water powered. The fact that students get an opportunity to be involved in that and be, if you will, grow up in this culture, it kind of lays the foundation for how they're going to impact the world and how they view their contribution in the world, not only environmentally, but socially, politically, and so forth. And I think the fact that they get a quality education, they've had mentors, and I think that's really important for undergraduate students to really understand that they need to find mentors, because it will complement their experience at a university, whether it be a faculty member or a staff member or, say, an upperclassman. Those are the mentors you need to have during your undergraduate experiences, because they will guide you through this and help you to navigate this. So I think it's just all those things are just more accessible to undergrad students here at UC Merced and so forth. But I think the greatest thing is being part of something that's just growing and booming, and know that you were part of that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Our last question, what advice do you have for students, particularly freshmen, who are worried about starting college and handling that new academic stress? Okay,
there's a great deal of stress, and a lot of it is the unknown part of college. One of the things that we try to be sure that we help students is learn how to navigate the university. Here at the university, 59% of our students are the first generation to go to college, and that's an extremely high percentage. And the thing about it is that this is all new to them. They're excited and they're anxious at the same time, but they're also nervous, like you're saying, about the stress level, because it is all unknown territory. No one has come before them to guide them and figure out how this process works. The thing about students have to understand is that when you come to college, never be afraid to ask for help. Everyone has limitations in life, but the only way you exceed limitations is with the assistance of others. We have support services here at the university that provide students an ample opportunities to find that assistance they're looking for. The fact that we do mid-semester grade checks during the freshman year, both in fall and spring semester, to really be intrusive, and I would say intentionally intrusive in the lives of our freshmen, so that we can help them out and be sure that they're being academically as well as personally successful here at the university, especially during that freshman year. College is going to be the most exciting time in your life until the next exciting thing happens in your life. But at the same time, stress is part of the game, but what are you doing to address that stress? What are you doing to alleviate that stress? That the undergraduate experience is not solely based on the academics. You need to find balance, whether it be social activities, whether it be recreational activities, whether it be those experiential opportunities beyond the classroom. that provide for you that balance. And therefore, you have an enjoyable experience as far as an undergraduate education. There's a professor at UCLA, his name is Alexander Aston, who talks about this theory. And the theory is that when a student graduates from college, they should reflect on their previous 4 or 5 years as some memorable experiences, and that there was a whole comprehensive experience for them. Not only what they learned in the classroom, not only what they gained from their faculty, but also the experiences they had that complemented those things in the classroom, or maybe extended what they learned in the classroom, because that is what's going to provide the greatest level of satisfaction. I just did something amazing in these 4 or 5 years, and so forth. But also, students should be looking forward to that graduation day when they're walking across the stage and they hear these yells and screams and hoots and whatever, and these obnoxious people are screaming at them. And then they look and they see it's their family. Because at that moment, they realize it's not just about them at that graduation moment, it's also about their family and all those who follow them. And so that makes it all worthwhile. That's what the work has all been for that one moment. And then what happens after that? Your heart starts beating even twice as fast, because you're thinking of the possibilities now that you have this education, what you're going to do with it. So yeah, stress is part of it, but there's a lot of things that take place in these 4 or 5 years that help you to address that stress. And it's okay to feel that way, because if you weren't nervous or anxious about this, then I'd say you're not pretty serious about this then.
And so thank you for letting me interview you.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you for having me.
Of course.